Cash is not king. Cash flow is king. We're in a debt-based society. My income is your debt. Your debt is my income. My name is Coach JV. I'm a millionaire investor and a millionaire entrepreneur. It wasn't always that way, but over the last 5 years, I've helped 11,000 people learn the game through my mistakes. And what I'm going to share with you today is how important, how unbelievably important cash flow is. And the key is what you do with that cash flow. We live in a society right now where we're taught to go to school, get a job, get a 401k, and in school they taught you how to memorize, not create. They measured you off a grade point average, and then they measure you off your credit score. And so what we've been taught to is leverage against our future self so far that we can't get out of this indebtment slave trap. So what I'm going to show you is how important cash flow is. Cash is not king, the cash flow and leverage is. Okay? So I'm going to break it down, and what I'm qualified to tell you is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not qualified to tell you what to do, but I'm going to share with you how I went from completely broke, losing everything because they shut down our businesses during the pandemic, to having a crypto portfolio, to transmuting it into cash flow, leverage, and now in the future, generational wealth. So the phase that I'm in now is I became a millionaire investor and I became a millionaire entrepreneur twice, and now we're about to do it the third time. And I did it through cash flow and I did it through leverage. I didn't do it through buying Lambos, fancy watches, fancy clothes. As you see, I wear the same thing almost every single day. I did it through reading the Bible, understanding the wisdom of King Solomon, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, and many other books, Success Leaves Clues. So, this is the key. Cash flow is what you need. That's the first thing. So what is cash flow? You go to school, get a job, get a 401k, and you trade time for money. In a job, you clock in from 9 to 5. The problem with that system is you have to give up more time to make more money. You're bound by a pay scale and you're bound by the boss's raise. Okay? On Friday, when Americans get paid, they spend their money and then they save what's left. We should be doing it opposite. You should save and then spend what's left. So what I want to teach you to do is I want to teach you how to create cash flow and then transmute that into assets. Then we can use the assets to leverage to repeat the process. And then when we get to a point where we're in an asset circular bubble, then you buy the fun things. You buy the Lambo, the watch. Then you get really strategic and you buy a car that's actually an asset. You buy a watch that's an asset, but you buy it with OPM, other people's money. So let me explain. So cash flow is king, not cash. Cash, since 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, to now, the dollar has collapsed 97%. So would that tell you that cash is king? Are you going to store your wealth in something that has 3% purchasing power? America has more debt than it has income, and there's no real money in the system. So cash flow is king. We're transmuting energy into things that compound and grow. So what I did is I got into cryptocurrency in 2020. I hit the bull run. We came back into a business after the pandemic, started to open our business back up, and I decided I've been in business for a long time at that point, and we blew up, which was awesome. But again, I didn't buy a bunch of stuff. I took the cash flow and I moved it into assets. Very, very important. Assets that grow. Okay, you can do the stock market. I did crypto. That's what I did. I'm not telling you have to do that. I profited greatly in cryptocurrency. I put things into Index Universal Life, which I could compound every 7 years at 10%. Money doubles, okay? And I can leverage, okay? So the cash flow went into assets. I lived well below my means. My assets grew. I took that cash, I put it into things like insurance that I can leverage, compound, and grow. I leveraged my assets, getting tax-free money, okay? And I bought businesses that did what? Created more cash flow. And then you repeat the process, okay? So let me break it down. 2020 to 2022, I made more money than I would have made as an executive with cryptocurrency, okay? It was in the wild, wild west speculation phase, which we're still in speculation and regulation, and there's still going to be a huge amount of price appreciation with America becoming the crypto capital of the world. So based on my research, I decided to buy a good amount of crypto. But I wasn't foolish. When it profited, it was totally unrealistic. So I took that profit, I got cash, and I moved it into assets. I bought businesses that were cash generating. I got equity in 6 different companies. We turned 2 into 7-figure ecosystems. One's about to be the third. But the income that I get from that on Wednesday and Friday, I transmuted that back into assets that grow, that pay me cash. And I have 2 of them that allow me to leverage. Okay? I got Bitcoin and I have insurance. Okay? So I take that leverage, the example that I've given you guys many times, is I took a leveraged Bitcoin loan, which watch the other video on this this channel about this, because there's a lot of factors you want to do, and I bought my own insurance firm. That insurance firm pays back the leverage, and now I have 2 cash generating assets. I abbreviated that, okay? So you don't need more crypto. You need to create cash flow first. Very, very important, okay? So stop following these people or getting disillusioned by